Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. In this episode, as you can see while we're driving by it, we're going to be upgrading and hopefully getting close to maxing out this machines factory. So if we take a look here at our machines factory, we're only really supplying one city at the moment, and that's Jackson. And a lot of the cities around the map are starting to request machines as they continue to grow and require more resources. And taking a look at our cargo hub over here, machines is actually the last resource we need to bring into this area before we can begin bringing in and sending out every resource on the map. So while we currently have trucks taking the machines from this machines factory over to this port, where they then get shipped by boat all the way down to the Jackson port, I think what we're going to do is get a more direct line from here over to the cargo hub. And I'm not too sure how exactly we want to do that yet. We have two pretty obvious choices, and that would either be by train, connecting it up to this line here, or by truck, by somehow maybe adding a road that bypasses the city and connects up to this road somewhere. So if we take a look at this boat here, we can see it's actually not really even moving a full load of machines into Jackson, but we can see here it's still making a profit. Now, coming over here to the city, we can see we're hardly supplying the amount of machines that it requests, and that's probably due to the location of our truck stop, which I think we're probably unloading here or probably to this one if we take a look. Well, it seems like we're actually sending it to this one, which is where most of the machines are, but we can see that it's not covering everything. So maybe there's some issue there that needs fixing, but we'll get there as we set up this machines line. So pretty much the plan is, I think we're going to keep this truck line that runs to this port. However, we will strengthen the connection there, we'll improve the trucks, and make sure our boats are leaving with a full load as they head over to that port. So we're not going to get rid of that connection, as it helps keep this port being used. So we have different cargo coming into different areas of the city, so we don't have a huge amount of truck traffic concentrated in any specific area. However, I would like to get more of those resources to the cargo hub so they can be distributed out to different cities more frequently, and if we do it by train or truck, it's a lot more consistent than by boat. And I think after looking at this for a while, we might do a train line. So what we can do is have a line come under the mountain here, and we'll tunnel through, where hopefully somewhere around here we can come out of the tunnel and then connect right up to this bridge right here, so that we don't have some weird intersection on the bridge. And if we can get the tunnel to come out somewhere at this elevation, it'll look a lot cleaner than some of the other options. So first, before we get into this, let's see if we even have the chance of doing this. So we'll just simply drag a line over to here. And surprisingly, it looks like it's actually a flat line. So I suppose that's actually really good. We won't have to worry about any major terrain changes or having a really good engine to pull this. So that works out really well. So now I think we'll go with the 240 meter platform. We'll give it a little bit of space and place it down there. Hopefully that gives us enough room to get a slightly larger cargo building in here. So looks like we can maybe get a medium building, which isn't too terrible. I'm okay with that. I think if we really wanted to, we could actually just add a large building over here, but let's stick with this medium one for now and see what we can do. Alright, so now we have our train station placed down and everything looks good with that to start out with. Let's now grab our tracks and see if we can come out somewhere at a reasonable height. So in building this track, I think we're going to have to start out with a slight curve, and then from there, bring it back around. I don't think we'll be going much faster than this, so if we can maybe even just connect it straight up. Well, we might need to carve out a tiny bit of this mountain first. So let's grab our flattened terrain tool, and we'll carve this out just a tiny bit. We'll smooth that over so that looks a little bit better. We can come back to our end here, and I think we want to get as close to where our signals are as possible so we can keep our top speed up. And that keeps us above 75 miles an hour, which is good for cargo. So then from here, we can just follow this along and connect this end back up to the tracks. Alright, so now that we have our tracks, let's add crossovers here. Well, maybe not there because it looks like that might mess up this mountain. Let's just try it out real quick. Alright, so we had to add it underground to get it to really work, but now we can add our signals in, and we'll have a few since we'll probably have 2 trains running on this line just for consistency. And then we'll come through here and smooth out the terrain so we get rid of those jagged edges between the 2 tracks. And I think this works out well enough where we can now just simply get a train going. So I think now we'll get a connection to this train depot here so we can get trains connected that run out of this side of the track or out of this side of the station. So this one will be pretty straightforward. We'll just have it slightly curve in and then go straight until about here. We might have to do it just slightly sharper. We'll actually extend these out so we make sure that we can still get that sort of slip junction. So if we do this and it doesn't seem like it's shallow enough. Alright, so after some trial and error, we were able to get it to so we can turn on these double slip switches. We actually don't need these tracks at the moment, so we can just delete this. But we do know it is at a shallow enough angle where when we do make more connections on this side, we can add that in so our trains can just come right out of this building and onto their respective tracks. We will turn it on right here, and then of course all the way over here it automatically connects up. Alright, and now after finally getting this to work, it seems like tunnels don't like when you try to fit a junction inside of them, so we had to just push the entrance of this tunnel back a little bit. But now we have this connection to the train depot where we can now come in and figure out the train that we want to bring in machines to our cargo hub. And now the train that will get to run, or the engine that'll get to run this whole train, is the EMD SD40-2 with a top speed of 65 miles an hour, which isn't too much faster than what we already have running on that set of tracks, so there won't be much in terms of being held up there. And for its power rating, it's pretty decent for what it is. It can get up to its top speed on flat and medium slopes fairly quickly, so there's no issue with that. And I think we'll get 2 of these, since these are slightly smaller trains, and we'll want to get as many machines in here as possible. I'm aware that they'll probably run empty for a pretty good amount of time until we upgrade our machines factory and upgrade our connections, but we can have that come into the cargo hub here. And because it's unloading, it doesn't really matter which platform it's on, so we'll maybe set an alternate platform here for platform 4, just so it can use whichever one is free as it pulls up to the cargo hub. So now we can see our train as it comes out of the cargo hub train depot. I quite like the look of this engine. I think it's a very nice diesel engine, and it's very powerful for what it is, so I'm excited to get more trains with that kind of engine on it. Now we did forget to set the train so it only picks up machines and it doesn't load anything at the cargo hub, so now that we have that, we can move on to upgrading this machines factory. So if we take a look here, we have steel and planks coming in, and at the moment it looks like planks is what's lacking. So coming here, it looks like our plank trucks are still running these very old trucks. So I believe we're getting those from all the way out here. So an upgrade is definitely needed for this line. Let's first start out by coming to here and upgrading these vehicles. So we'll come in, replace them, and I think we'll use these trucks here. I don't know if it'd make sense that this kind of truck would be carrying logs, so we'll go with a flatbed truck with side stakes. This one seems to be our best option, as this one can't carry logs. So we'll replace those. Those should do just fine. I think we will want to upgrade this road. So we'll upgrade this to match the rest of the roads. That looks good. And then coming here, I don't know why there's an extra connection following this road. So we'll delete this road that follows the one we already have. And we'll just clean up this area real quick. So now that we have that road cleaned up, we can... I think we'll upgrade this one to be this small country road. So we'll do that, and then we'll also pause quick and upgrade this street connection so that that makes sense. So now the next thing we can do is grab these vehicles and we'll replace those, and I think we'll use these trucks now to transport the planks. As taking a look here, these are pretty much on par with all the other trucks that we have. It is a much higher running cost, but it can carry almost twice as much as these other vehicles, so that should greatly help with moving these planks. So then coming to this highway here, you can see what that looks like with these trucks running on it. Looks pretty sketchy in some areas, but I still think it works for now. If we need to, we can maybe get smaller trucks running, but I think it's still fine with these large trucks here. So then this brings us back to our steel factory over here, where it looks like we're starting to eat into our coal deficit, and I'm not too sure if we want to really upgrade that yet. I think let's connect the machines up to more resources and see the kind of demand it pulls first. So I think pretty soon we're going to have to get a second steel mill running, which hopefully means we can finally connect these two resources up somewhere. I really want to get something working out of this mountainous area, but Anyway, let's come down here and maybe figure out what more connections we can make. So I think one connection that can easily be made is bringing machines directly from the machines factory into Santa Clarita. Since it is so close, it's only right down the street, I don't think we need to bring it into this sort of distribution area in Santa Clarita. I think we could just sort of have a direct line to wherever the truck stop would need to be. And that looks like it'd probably be this truck station, which already has 3 lines running to it. So in order to do this, let's upgrade our road. So that upgrades that connection. Now, because we'll be getting more vehicles coming through here, you can already see there's a little bit of a holdup. I think we're definitely going to have to upgrade this truck station. So let's pause. And we're going to delete this and probably a couple of these assets around here so that we can get a much larger truck station that can handle a lot more traffic. So we can come in here with this truck station. We're going to want this to be pretty long, and we'll get 2 platforms on either side. So we can see here, that would fit pretty well in here. We'll have to line it up with the building. So I think this lines us up almost perfectly. We'll place that down. I'd say probably here works out. And then we will make these platforms longer since we do have those big trucks coming in now. They'll need much more space to come in and sort of have an area to build up. Now we have these longer platforms. Let's place our storage buildings, since we'll now be shipping stuff out of here. So we'll squeeze as much as we can in that building. I don't think we need to do anything with these, although we can hide these pretty well. Let's maybe just place these down and see what that looks like. So I don't think that looks too terrible on these buildings, so we might just keep that. So then we'll reset our terminals so that everyone is coming in on different terminals and hopefully they won't get in each other's way. So that should let us begin to let this play again. Now the only issue we'll probably have is the limit of vehicles that can come in and out on this road, but hopefully once we let this begin to play, that won't become too much of an issue. And as we wait for that, let's lower our brush size just slightly, hold shift and fill in the corner of this lot here with asphalt, and then we'll do the same here for the industry itself. So traffic doesn't look too terrible now here. Let's come back in and replace some of the assets we deleted. And I don't think we really got rid of too much besides one building, which we probably won't need to replace, but we can replace a bunch of these goods assets that we had down. So we'll come through, place a few of these, and then I think we'll get some planks in here if we can find those. So we'll get a couple of these placed as well. So now this helps to fill out this area just a bit more. I think to help close it off, since this is a slightly larger sort of factory area now, we will fence this in. So we'll bring this fence along the back edge of the station like so, and then have it just come right around and connect up to the end of this building. So I think that'll do it in terms of rebuilding the assets for the truck station. We still have to do the train station, which we'll wait until we build some of this demand. So I think the next step is to come over to our cargo hub and see which vehicles and lines we can upgrade to now take machines to their respective cities. So the first one we can pretty easily do is Modesto, we can get some machines coming in here. We can see that number is not very high, but I believe if we take a look in here, there should be some machines, yep, right here that we can reach. And I think we can reach them from this truck stop, so that'll help spread out the truck traffic a little bit. So let's first get that truck line set up. And I believe they were using, or we were using, these trucks. So let's actually get maybe just one or two of these larger ones running. That'll just help provide some variety in the area. And that'll come over here. We'll set it to the third platform, and we'll have it so it only loads machines. So now we can see that big truck coming through here. It's a little bit awkward, but that is what we're going to have to work towards in the future as our trucks only get bigger and bigger from here. So here's our train that takes all the goods from the cargo hub into the city of Modesto. And it doesn't seem like we can expand this, but looking here, it is carrying most of the resources right into the city there. And it's actually entirely filled up with tools and even food, which means that all of the boxcars are being used. So I think what we're going to do is just manage this line, and we do have it so it can accept the machines, but I think we'll need to rework the train so that it can carry just a few more goods, since almost all of those resources go via boxcar. So let's just come in here. I think we can still edit this train and it wouldn't be too terrible. So pretty much what we did was we just added 4 more boxcars, and I think we might have gotten rid of a flat car too. I forgot to check how many we had before, but we can just hit modify, and hopefully if we check here, we now have a good bit more space for hopefully goods and machines as that demand continues to build over here in this city. So one thing we can do with this train to pretty much guarantee that one cargo doesn't fill the entire train is by coming in here and adjusting this level setting when we make the distinction on what it can load and unload. I think this is pretty much the maximum load for the train. So by doing this, we allow it to, if it needs to, fill the train 100% with tools. So I might bring that down to about 70% or maybe even 50%. Let's actually go with 60 because that's a nice middle ground. Now I believe tools is the most requested resource in Modesto, but we do want to be able to get all of the resources in the city. And so I think eventually we'll need to get a second train on this line, but until demand starts to really build for those resources, I don't think a second train is justified just yet. However, we are reaching close to the maximum potential for this train. So coming back to this machines factory, we can see that Modesto is now a consumer of machines. So that's something good to see. And I just realized that we actually never connected up our direct line to Santa Clarita, so let's go on that real quick. The nearest truck depot is probably right here. So we'll go with slightly smaller trucks since these will be going into the city. And I think what we'll go with is maybe these trucks, these flatbed trucks. They're very small. They definitely don't really fit in with the style that we're going for, but I think it'd be interesting to try out a smaller truck like this just to see sort of what happens. So we can come in here, add a new line coming from that truck station, and I believe we wanted it to drop them off here. So then we'll set this to only pick up machines. and that should pretty much immediately start working. So we can see here the machines factory slowly starting to upgrade. As we check the consumers, we haven't really started transporting anything yet, so we're not going to see this transport percentage yet. Sacramento is on here for some reason, but we did correct that. That was just a little issue with one of our boat lines going to the cargo hub. So we fixed that. So we should, at the moment, only be providing machines to 3 different cities. So we'll let that demand build up while we detail this train station real quick. So to start off, we'll just double check that everything is flat. We'll bring it all the way out to here so we can see a clear edge with that terrain there. And then next, I want to bring a road out right along this platform here. So even though the game won't let us do this, we will build with collision and just hit build anyway. So that way we have a road that comes right up along this side here. And then pretty much what we can do now is paint this whole area to be asphalt, or at least a good portion of it to be asphalt. And then pretty much just filled up with some machines assets and some other things to help populate the area. Alright, so I think this is the area that we're going to give ourselves to work with. So let's come in and fill a good portion with machines. So we'll probably pretty much, once we delete that, pretty much just line this whole area with this machine's load. So this whole fence line will be machines, and we might throw in some goods for variety. We can throw in a couple of these every now and then, since they probably wouldn't be shipped out all in the same packaging. So we can do that. We can come back, switch over to machines again, follow along the fence line, and then maybe at some point we switch it up and we start going the other way. So pretty much in the end we end up with something like this, and then maybe we come in here and grab some 40-foot containers, and we'll make this a pretty long line. We'll make sure this lines up with the fence as well. So maybe I guess this is about the closest angle we'll get. We'll give a little bit of space between the rows. Have 2 side by side, and we'll have random stacks for up to 3 high, and place them along like so. So I think that works out pretty well, and we have this nice open space here where maybe we could put some lights down. So we can grab these large lights and just plop a few of them right in the middle here. And then lastly, of course, we'll grab a crane. I think for this one we'll go back to these sort of default cranes, especially since these are animated. So we'll get that placed right there. And so that looks pretty nice for an area like this. We'll just get a little barrier here. We'll fill in the paint over this way. And then I think we'll leave this end open for future expansion if we want it. Probably once we fully max out this machines factory, we can decide to fill in a little bit over here as well. Alright, and then to finish this out, we'll just smooth out all this terrain that we messed with. So that looks good there. And I think we'll just double check that everything works as we want it to, and then that'll pretty much be it for this episode. So checking the machines factory and the numbers here, it looks like we're actually about to upgrade yet again to level 4. So there we go, that just ticked over. So that's good. It's a little hard to tell if we need to improve our steel output at the moment, as both of those numbers are slowly rising, and none of them are particularly empty or going down really quick, so it might take some time before we need to know if we need to connect more steel up to here. But then coming and looking at our consumers, it doesn't look like anything's made it to Modesto yet, but I'm sure it's on the way. It just needs to work through the chain of transportation that we have going there, but everything else is getting the resources it needs, so that's very good to see. And then as we come back to our cargo hub, we can see we have all 6 resources now coming in and out of this whole area, and I think it'll be very exciting once we finally fill up all these stations. We get tons of trucks moving into these platforms. We probably won't get there until we start getting sort of the next level, or the second tier of industries coming through. So once we get a second machines factory bringing resources here, or a second construction materials plant, we might try to bring those in by truck just to add to the variety and sort of consistent flow of resources that'll be coming through here. So this is very exciting to see. So even though we have all the resources flowing in through here, we are far from done with this cargo hub. There's still tons of space to fill out and many more connections to make. So with that, that's going to be all for this video. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.